Hey guys, I am so excited for you to be here today because I have a very special guest, Anna Powers. She is a success coach and expert copywriter who helps people pursue purpose through creating impactful businesses online. And Anna and I actually met this year through our mastermind, and she is just so full of energy and she's just so incredibly brilliant. So I'm so pumped for you guys to get to know her a little bit today. So Anna, thanks for being here.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me on, Jen.
You're welcome. So for those people who don't know you, I would love for you to share a little bit about how you kind of got started in the online space.
Ooh, okay.
You started as a lawyer, right?
Yeah. So
You're like, yeah.
Totally different. I was a civil defense litigator for 8 years. I got about 5 years into my practice and I was just like, this is not my path. I'm grateful, for all the experience and the opportunity, but this is not where I'm meant to stay. So I started looking at alternatives, and I applied for coaching thinking that if I could get my own coach, they could help me repackage like my knowledge and expertise to get another job. And when I met with this coach and she heard like my own personal history, and that's something, that some of your listeners might be interested in because I had overcome anorexia and binge eating. So, and I really had a passion for helping women become like comfortable in their own skin and really loving themselves, no matter what their shape was. Cause we can have like, I've been 103 pounds and 220 pounds and every single weight in between,
Wow.
Yeah. And so she heard that and she was like, you could do your own thing. And at first I thought that was ridiculous because I thought, who puts their name on a website? Like, that's super egotistical. Who would do that? What kind of person would you have to be to do all these like mindset things? And now I have this mantra, sales is service. That's a whole nother thing. But back then, I was just brand new. But she convinced me, and so I started building this health coaching business. But all the while, what I really wanted to do was what I do now. And I really wanted to help women build their own things. I just felt ill-equipped, unqualified, had all those like imposter syndrome issues. So that business didn't, it wasn't where I was called to stay. And I knew that because I wanted it to be a mission, but I really didn't actually want it to be a business. So I had to kind of work through all that, get myself into alignment, finally give myself permission to do what I really wanted to do. So I kind of made that shift. I started the business in 2015, made that shift at the end of 2016 and started offering the business coaching, which by then I actually did know how to get together the basics of an online business because I built an email list, built Facebook ads, built landing pages, had email funnels, put together programs. I had worked with some clients, but not as many as I wanted to be working with. And when I made the shift and got into alignment, I also looked at what could really set me apart from the sea of online business coaches. And I do think it's helpful if you have some sort of like more tangible, concrete skill. And I have always been a writer. I was an English major. As a litigator, lots of what we do is research and writing, persuading the court to rule in favor, whether it's through oral argument or through your briefs. Persuading the court to rule in favor of your client is not that different from persuading someone that, what you have to offer is really valuable and can be transformational for them. So I dove in head first to studying copywriting, and that's where it really kicked off and things started to really snowball in the best way.
Oh, I love this. I didn't realize that was like how this all came together, but I think that's such a beautiful example of how this online world, it can just kind of become an expertise sandwich of all the different things that you've done. It all kind of plays together and really helps to elevate what it is you really want to do. So for those people in my audience, some of them are like, copywriting? You mean like the legal stuff? And there might be a confusion because you were also talking about, so what is copywriting?
Great question. Thank you for bringing that out. So copywriting that I do now with a WRITING is basically words that sell. So it's your marketing message. It can be your website copy, your emails that you send out. It can even be like your social media posts, because those really are your copy. And I sometimes refer to it, it's like Mad Men without the adultery and alcoholism. You see the guys like really like brainstorming, okay, what's a creative way that we can really emotionally reach our ideal clients. And so that a lot of copywriting is also understanding human psychology and really understanding your market and what they're struggling with and their deep desires and what they long to experience at an emotional level.
Yeah. And when I first started in the online business, I didn't even know copywriting existed. I didn't know this was a thing. It was a total like down the road. It's only for the people who have really got their stuff figured out that they have other people who support them in this. So I would love for you to speak to why is this like a different art form and why is it so important? Because it really
Yes.
is. It's not just like you can hire a copywriter, but a persuasion copywriter, somebody who's really specialized in email copy and websites. It is a different skill set.
Yes, a conversion copywriter that is very different from a content writer. So, and you'll see that transparently, you'll see that reflected in the price that you'll pay, when you go to hire an expert conversion copywriter, because they are actually skilled and trained to help you make sales, like attract consistent quality leads and actually make sales, which if you're running a business, that is very important. And sometimes people, I just want to help people. Well, yes, but when people pay, they pay attention. So you want them to actually pay for your services so that they take them seriously and do the work they need to do to get the results. Copywriting, it's so important because you can have the best services in the world, but if you can't convey the value of those services to your ideal clients, they just won't buy. And we all know, like, there are hidden gems, like in every industry. Like, I'm sure you have people that you run across that you're like, oh my gosh, your work is phenomenal. But you look at their website and it's like, you read the words and it's just like, do you want to achieve health and happiness? And you're like, what the heck does that mean?
Right.
There's no specificity. It's not like forming a solid connection that's going to emotionally resonate with that ideal client to the point that client's going to like say, oh yeah, I need that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And I see so many women, especially even clients of mine who are newer to building their businesses, the idea of like creating email funnels or, building a sales page feels really overwhelming because I think they are on some level aware that this is a different beast. But I think what you just said is like, you can hire someone to do this for you. And if it's not your strength, sure, would it be better to improve in this area? Yes, because you'll probably need to like have this in your back pocket. It would be useful, but you can also hire people to help you guys with this. And I just want to mention that because I didn't know that early on. And when I hired a copywriter, it was like, oh, cool.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, I do really recommend that people, especially in the beginning or if they're making a transition, like gather at least a basic knowledge of whatever subject. So that's exactly why I created a course around this, because I wanted people to be able to get like the templates and the frameworks. And I'll tell you a funny story. Even as a writer, like someone who, English major, lawyer, like someone who wrote for a living, copywriting is just a different animal. So when I first put up my website and I had what I thought, great, fantastic, awesome about page, my coach looked at it and was like, you need to hide this immediately.
Oh my God.
And I know, right? I was like devastated because, you're so excited. You put all this work into it. And I'm like, I don't understand. She said, it's all about you. And I was like, but it's my about page. Like it's supposed to be about me. She was like, no, your clients only care about you to the extent that you're going to help them move forward. So your about page, it's only peripherally about you. It is ultimately about how you're going to serve your clients in achieving their goals and dreams. And everything you write must keep that in mind if you want your copy to actually work to convert people into customers.
This is so good. So you have a 6C steps or framework?
Yeah. I call it a 6C frame, the 6 C's from connection to conversion. So
yes,
all my clients know, and our friend Tiffany Lee Bymaster, because I go into her group and I'm the copy expert in that group. I love alliteration. So it
I
can
do too.
like super cheesy alliteration. And I'm like, well, it's super cheesy, but all the first letters are L's, and that's really awesome. So yeah, I just, I also found it's really much easier to remember key principles if you kind of have a framework for them. So yeah, I have the 6 C's to take people from connection to conversion.
Amazing. So do you want to take us through what those are? Because I think this will be really powerful for our listeners to really just like be able to take a look at how they're showing up in their content and their copy and really identify where maybe they're missing a step or where they've got some gaps.
Of course. Okay. Yay. And just, jump in and stop me if there's any questions about each specific one. So the first one is connection. And, honestly, like businesses are built on relationships, especially today, because things kind of tilted to like overly automated for a season, and people really got burnout on that. So what I'm seeing working, and I think you would probably echo that, is really like the personal engagement. So you need to connect with your ideal clients. To do that, you actually have to, heart of hearts, talk to them. What, Anna, you want me to actually like call them? Yes. So I go through this in my program, but I actually have people do a set number of market research interviews where they either call, past clients who've had success or people that they know would be ideal clients or believe would be ideal clients, and ask them a series of questions. So you're going to start out really basic, like, if it's health, like what's the main issue you struggle with when you're trying to lose weight? What is it? Is it like you're an emotional eater at night, or you have a super busy job that you can't like do your meals, or maybe your family isn't on board and you kind of have to battle. So there's all kinds of, and you want to understand, well, which is it for the majority of your clients? Because those are very different scenarios, right? Mm-hmm. Then you want to ask, how long has this issue been going on? And then you want to get deeper, like, how does it make you feel? Back up. You want to say, what all have you tried to tackle this issue? Because clearly it's not fixed yet. So what all have you tried? How does it make you feel that you haven't been able to tackle this yet? Because what you want to do is dig into the emotion and kind of the why underneath the just like, I want to lose weight. Well, why is that important? How does it make you feel that you haven't been able to lose it, for 5 years when you've been trying X, Y, Z? And you want to either get those interviews recorded, of course, with their permission, or you want to have a notepad and be taking notes. And you want to note their precise language, because you will echo it back in your copy. So if they say frustrated, you do not want to say stressed, because you may think, well, frustrated and stressed are kind of the same thing. Not to your clients. So you want to use, especially if like 3 out of your 5 interviews have a similar phrase that they use, you want to repeat that phrase. And then you also want to dig into like the future hopes and dreams. So you really want to say, what is life going to be like when you get this thing tackled? Like, how are you going to feel then? What are you going to be able to accomplish that you haven't been able to accomplish? And you want to hear, again, the specific words that they say when they're talking about like that future positive, awesome experience. So that's number 1, connection.
This is great. And you're really tapping into both the internal and the external problems with these questions. And one of my favorite things is exactly what you just said, the future pacing, like imagine if, because I think what we all need to remember, and I know some people when they're doing discovery calls, they just keep hammering away at the pain. The pain. But we have to remember that we want to get that person into a buying state. And if they're feeling totally like beaten down and they're just focused completely on everything that's going wrong, are they going to say yes? Even if you put other persuasion things in there, like not necessarily. So that adding that to the end of like what's possible. Oh man, don't leave that out. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah, it's super important. And the third C, we're going to really touch on that even more strongly.
Okay, cool.
Yes, that is for sure. If you finish off with the pain and try to sell from the pain, it's going to hurt your sales. It just will. Yeah. So the second one is clarity. So who doesn't love clarity? I know it's a phrase that gets so like tossed around. I had a mentor one time that said, you get crystal clear. And I told her, I said, if you say the phrase crystal clear one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. Like, I just can't even. But that being said, when we can get clear on what we actually desire, that's when we can make a plan to go get it. And if we're like in a state of confusion over, what we really want, we're not going to be able to know how to make a plan to get it. So it's also important for us as mentors and leaders to have a really clear statement that tells our clients who we are, who we help, what we help them with, and this is the key point that most people leave out, why that's important. So here's the example I give, like from a, copywriting mentoring perspective, what I say is, I'm Anna Powers. I help online business owners create magnetic messaging so that they can attract more consistent leads and make more consistent sales. So see how much different it would be, how much different it would be if I just said, hey, I'm Anna Powers and I help online business owners create magnetic messaging. That's like, okay, cool. Like, that's kind of interesting, but so you can get more quality leads and attract more consistent sales. Now you've explained why what you do is so important for this person. Again, it's always focusing it back on them. Why is it important that they connect with you? So it's just a simple formula. Hey, I'm, state your name and I help, and state who you help. And then usually it's like do, make, or create, or achieve, or accomplish, this result. And then so that they can, and then why that's so important that they get this result.
Love it.
Cool. All right. So the third C, so far we have connection, we have clarity. The third C is my favorite. I can't help but choose a favorite because I think this one is so important, and it is the one that most people forget, and it is contrast. Exactly what you pointed out. Like, people will tend to err on one side or the other. They'll dig into the pain, and then like forget to ever talk about the possibilities. And then you just feel crappy. Or they'll kind of skirt around the pain. They don't want to like be rude or like, offend them. And they'll just say, oh, possibility and rainbows and butterflies. But again, that falls flat because actually when you do it that way, we as humans tendency to kind of like rationalize and help ourselves numb out when necessary. So let's say, if I've been struggling with my weight, because I've had all kind of, weight stuff, obviously from the eating disorders. If I've been struggling with my weight for 5 years and let's say I'm, 25 pounds heavier than I want to be, I can kind of start to be like, well, it's not that bad. At least I'm not 50 pounds heavier and I can still fit in, my size, whatever, so I will rationalize it to make it more tolerable and manageable. So you do need to push into the pain. This is why I call it contrast. You want to take them from their world of pain to your paradise of possibility.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. Sounds fancy. So, and the analogy that I use is like when you go to the dentist and you say like, I think I might have a cavity. He's not just like, okay, cool, let's schedule your filling. No, he puts you in the chair, he gets out that metal thing and he sticks and he pokes around and he actually makes it hurt worse. Like usually when I've been in that situation, it's like, yes, that's where it is. I told you it was that too. You don't have to keep pressing on it. But what it does is it makes me see, this is urgent. I don't need to wait till next month to get this filling because that could result in me like, maybe I need to have a root canal. Maybe I need to have a crown. Those things are more painful, more time consuming, more expensive. So him pushing on the pain has helped me see this is something that needs to be addressed right now. So we need to listen and learn what their struggles are and really like make it clear that if they don't take a different action than they've been taking, they're not going to get a different result. And do they want to continue to stay in that place a year down the road? Like what happens if they wake up a year from now and it's exactly the same as it was? Like how would that feel? But we don't want to leave them there. We want to move them into that paradise of possibility. So we want to dig into, but what happens when this thing is finally under control? What happens when you finally have the freedom from ever worrying about how much you weigh again? Like it's just a total non-issue, or ever worrying about how much money you have in the bank again. Like you're set. It's a total non-issue. You don't make any of your decisions based on that. You make them from your desires. And you'll hear, like, you can almost hear their eyes light up, even if you can't see them, you can hear in their tone of voice, the change. But here's the key there. You don't want to leave them at their vision. because we as mentors, as coaches, and as leaders, we know that there's even more that's possible for them than they're allowing themselves to hope for, dream for, or expect right now. So we want to amplify the vision. And the example I give there is if I have a client, because I do like business mentoring, if I have a client who says, I've never been to Europe. If I could just like go to Paris, that would be amazing. I will help them raise up that vision by saying, awesome. And wouldn't it be cool to fly there business class? And wouldn't it be great to stay in like one of the nicest hotels and maybe even do like a shopping spree on the Champs-Elysees? And help get them into that, like, ooh, because they'll kind of like, it may even surprise them, like, ooh, I just thought just a trip to Paris, but like I could have like a business class trip to Paris and I could buy a bag while I'm there. Like, now you're talking.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to get them in that really high vibe state. So that's contrast.
I really love that. And I think that's powerful from a manifestation perspective, from an NLP, like psychology perspective of, really helping that individual, not just like identify what it is, but identify what will they see, hear, and feel when they get it at the next level and what else is possible. So I love that you just shared that. Okay. So are we up to number 4?
We're up to number 4.
Oh, I can't.
And I'll keep number 4 short because it is concise.
Okay.
It is like, that is number 4. Concise, be concise. Admittedly, the one that I struggle with the most, because as you can probably tell, like I love to chat. But one thing that I started doing, and my copywriting mentor is Ray Edwards. He's written for Tony Robbins, for Amy Porterfield, like top of the top. And so I've done like a full apprenticeship. I'm endorsed by him. There's a few of us who have that kind of certification, but Ray taught me, write your copy, write your draft, and then go through and like be ruthless with what you can cut. So I do that. Like I read my feet, and this is something I read my copy, on my feet. I don't read my feet. But this is something Ray taught me. He has this thing called OIFL, on your feet and out loud. And that's what I learned, from him. So I want to make sure I give him credit. But, you read your copy standing up and out loud, because, when you're writing, you can kind of like mix words and you don't realize it unless you read it all the way through. And often when I do that, not only does that help me catch little errors or, typos, but I'm also able to feel, oh, I said that in 10 words. I could say it in 4. Yeah. Yep. So as much as you can cut the fluff, people are busy, just get to the point. So that's number 4.
A freaking man. And that's all I'll say about that. I love to hack things to bits. I'm like, take this 4 paragraphs, let's put it in 1 sentence. Like, ain't nobody got time.
Yep. Ain't nobody got time for that. All right. Number 5 is call to action. So important. I see, because I'm on a lot of people's lists. I'm curious. And, this is like the area where I put so much, energy, so many hours into perfecting my craft. So, I look and see what's going on to stay updated on, what's going on, what's working in the marketing world. I see so many people, like, they'll just send an email about their program and they just highlight the program name with a hyperlink, but they never say, click here to enroll, click here to view the full details. Here's your link to grab a call. I mean, literally, like, tell people what you need them to do. Call them to action. We may think, but I put my program name with a hyperlink, like, clearly they can see that they can click there. Well, people don't always, act with as much logic as we might think they would. So let's just not make it any more complicated or any harder for them. We don't know what's going on in their lives. They may have had to make 1,702 decisions already that day. Just be clear, like, click. Okay, cool, I'm clicking. Whereas if it's just left as like a vague hyperlink, maybe I'll click, maybe I won't. And then the other thing with calls to action is, you want to be really mindful of your PS. Your PS section is your next most read section after subject line. So if I'm promoting something, I am almost always putting that call to action, not just in the body, but also in the PS. And the kind of gold standard is twice in the body, so somewhere near the top, somewhere, in the middle or near the end, and then in that PS as well. And your calls to action do not always have to be like, click here to book a call, click here to sign up for this program. I sent an email to my list with a link to Macklemore's music video for Glorious, because I just think it's such a fun song. He's like taking his grandma all around. It's got a great beat. It just makes me happy. Like, I'm just going to share that with my list. I sent them also.
I love this, because that is what makes your people fall in love with you.
Yeah, I sent them randomly, like, I do not know why the song Mbop popped into my head randomly one Friday, but I was like, Mbop, that was a great song. And so I just looked it up and I was like, hey guys, happy Friday. Like, don't know how your week went, but like, if it was kind of a tough week, take a listen to this. Might brighten your spirits. But the key is you're getting them to take an action. It does not always have to be like, buy my thing, look at my video. It can be, here's a great TED Talk that I ran across. Here's an amazing article that someone shared in one of my like groups that I'm in. Really just giving them some value, but training them that when they see your email and they click, there's going to be something great on the other end.
This is so amazing, because I think oftentimes what I see in my inbox is people only send out emails when they have something to promote.
Oh yeah,
And so if I was getting emails from that, like those individuals where it was like a little bit more fun and light and engaging, and I got to know a little bit more about what they liked and was able to make that connection. And you're also priming them to click, you're priming them to get the yes, which is just so freaking brilliant.
And there's nothing wrong with, I send out quite a lot of sales emails, like emails with opportunities for people to buy things. So that I don't think there's anything wrong, but if that's all you ever send, and it kind of can start to feel like mercenary or transactional rather than like relational. So yeah. And
the email companies will start to shove you into the spam folder.
That's so true and such a great point. Yeah. Totally. Okay. And then the last one is super important, probably potentially the most important of all the C's. Not the sexiest.
Get your pens ready.
And the sixth C is consistency. I know it's not like consistency. And yet it is so important from a trustworthiness standpoint. When you're asking someone to do business with you online and they've never met you in person, they've never been around you, lots of your clients, like lots of my clients have never met me in person. They've never been around my energy. They really don't know, it's a risk still to a lot of people to like put a credit card into an online order form. But when you are consistent, when you show up regularly, when you offer value, week in and week out, and people will start to see, okay, this is a genuine, legitimate person. This is someone who really does care about me and about my goals. And it will go so far to helping them have that confidence to invest in your services. And so that's part one of consistency. And then part two of consistency is making sure that your messages match across all your platforms. So I know you and I, like, we hear some of our mentors talk about like the ascension model, and you have kind of one core business purpose. Like for me, it's pursue your powerful purpose. Whether you do that through high level mentorship or through my copywriting course, or you listen to my podcast or whatever it be, like that's the through line. Your messaging needs to have a through line. So, you take a stand for your kind of key thing that you're helping people with, and you want to make sure it's dropped all throughout your messages.
So can you maybe give us an example of what that might look like?
Well, this is a really super concrete example,
Mm-hmm.
but let's say you're setting up a Facebook ad for like a new opt-in that you created. Well, you want to have, if you're doing like a longer form copy for that ad, you want to have some, they won't let you do bullet points, but like some arrows or emojis, that list out like, here's the transformational results that you can't guarantee, but you can probably expect when you download this thing and start implementing these principles. So they're going to read through your Facebook ad, be like, oh my gosh, Jen, that sounds amazing. I must have it right now. And they're going to click on your link. They're going to get to your landing page. You want to echo those same points on your landing page, not necessarily word for word identical, because that might feel like, did she just copy and paste these? But the same kind of language. So you want to go through your branding and find like 5 or 6 kind of phrases that really like resonate with your ideal clients, and you want to sprinkle those into like everything that you do, so that there's just that consistency there and it makes sense, when they're, and PS, that will also help you get your ads approved, because everything that you're promoting on Facebook with their terms and conditions, if you go over to a landing page and it's like, doesn't feel like you're offering the same thing, that will get your ad flagged or declined.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm curious too, what are some of like the big mistakes that you're seeing specifically health and fitness and wellness coaches making when it comes to their copywriting?
Oh my gosh, too much generality, or, just generalizing. Like, like I mentioned that example of like, do you want to feel, healthy and free? Do you want to feel energetic and light in your skin? Well, okay, so think about when you wake up in the morning, are you ever like, today I would love to feel healthy and free? No, like I want to feel great every day, but
Sure.
I just don't wake up thinking like, today I want to feel healthy. I might very well wake up like, ooh, like I had my 20-year high school reunion this past fall. Like, so, I freaking for sure woke up like, today I would like to fit into that dress that I got for my reunion. And it was touch and go, Jen.
It was touch and go.
But I did it. And got that thing on. But those are the kind of things that, think about what people would really say. Like,
yes,
rather than these just kind of vague, generic phrases that everybody says so as not to step on toes or hurt feelings. And that's another big one that I know has come up with kind of people in our circle, is not being afraid to be polarizing.
Yes.
And that's actually a really good thing, because, okay, and I'm faith-based, so I love Jesus. And this is like, if any of the people listening are in that camp, there are amazing marketing lessons in the Bible, by the way. I'm developing like a whole keynote on like marketing lessons for the Bible. It's
brilliant.
so exciting.
Like, so cool.
But there's a verse that says like, do not be lukewarm. If you are lukewarm, I will spit you out. Like, you be hot or you be cold, but I cannot take this lukewarm, so keep that in mind,
Yeah.
It's in the Bible. It's really important. It's cool if you deter clients, great. Like, I don't get upset by unsubscribes to my email list, because if they're unsubscribing, they either are overwhelmed with the messages in their inbox, and they may very well resubscribe like 2 months later when they kind of get their, so they may actually adore me and love me and become a top client, and they just need a little break. So like, that's one scenario. Or they don't resonate with my stuff at all, in which case, bless and release, and please do not, take up a spot, because I have to pay for those.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like, oh, you've got me keeping me below the next income cap of
yeah.
I have to pay for my emails and my email marketing system.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's always like bless and release.
Yeah. And so, I always encourage my clients, like, don't be distressed over, unsubscribes or even like negative comments, because that's how you've taken a stand that actually matters, because people can have an opinion. People don't have an opinion if you're kind of walking the line. You're just kind of vanilla. That's not really attractive. Like, you just need to really take a stand for what you believe in, and that will draw in the people who are meant to work for you, and it will repel the people who were never meant to work with you in the first place.
Oh man, this is so valuable, so true. And I just want to echo this. And I actually, after our mastermind, decided to have a little fun with my social media and make it my goal to like be as polar as possible and to like ruffle some feathers. And it was funny because my fiance came home yesterday. He's like, "You've been getting a lot of engagement." And I was like, "Yeah, I really have." And not just like people liking stuff, because that goes up and down, but on a handful of recent posts, people are writing paragraph responses.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, we're on to something. This is working. And they're on different topics, relationships, money, things that are not even necessarily my teaching principles, but they are a part of my core message and my values are coming through. But man, it's been so wild to see how people are just engaging with this. They have an opinion too, and they like either really strongly agree or really strongly disagree.
And that's such a gift you're giving to your audience to get to know you. And it's going to just make it so much easier for them to see, like, I'm betting you're going to start having people sign up without even wanting a phone call, because they already know you. You know, they see you, they understand who you are. When we're open about that, when we let people in, it's just a gift, because it makes it a so much easier decision for them.
Oh, so true.
Yeah.
So true. And so I would love for you to share where people can learn a little bit more about you and come connect with you online.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. And this has been a total blast.
Yeah, I love this. This is such valuable information. I know my audience is going to be taking copious amounts of notes. And
so you can find me online at saraannapowers.com. There's no H on the Sarah, so SaraAnnapowers.com. I am on Instagram and at Sara Anna Powers. I'm on Twitter, but I don't really do a lot there. So Instagram is a great place to connect with me. I do a lot of stories and always love, like, you know, getting DMs from people. And then if anybody wants, I've got a framework that is totally free. It's a free sales page framework. It walks you through all these like pre-opt-in questions. And then I call it like Mad Libs for your business.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, you can grab that at saraannapowers.com/stellar sales page. And it's totally free, but it'll get you that like guide, so you're not sitting looking at a blinking cursor.
Oh, yeah, I'm so excited for that. And we will link all of that up for you guys in the show notes. And before we go, do you have any last words of wisdom for people who are learning on just refining their messaging and stepping forward?
Oh, yeah. So this is like not just for messaging, but just for business in general, but it applies to messaging as well. Just be resilient. Like, just keep going. We're not perfect. We're human beings. We're going to test things out and try things out. And some things are going to hit amazingly, and some things are going to be womp womp. Don't let down. Like, all the people that I see who are succeeding now in online business, all of them had at least one thing that was like a total flop. The difference is that they didn't let that say, oh, well, I'm not meant to have an online business. They were just like, well, that didn't work so well. Let me learn from that. You know, there's no failure, right? There's only feedback. Yep. Let me take that feedback and let me make it different. So I talk about, you know, having gladiator-like resilience, like just keep going, keep going, keep going. If you make a messaging snafu, just laugh it off, dust yourself off, get right back up, try again, keep going.
Oh, such good words to live by. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. This was so much fun. I can't wait for people to go and connect with you guys. If you love this episode, because I know you did, take a screenshot of the show and tag us on your Instagram stories at HeyJenCasey and at Sara Anna Powers.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here, and we'll talk to you soon, guys. Bye.
Bye.